is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Go! You're watching Dr. Politics.
They're Dr. Politics. He's the one to see. Breaking down the news with sharp analysis. From Congress halls to campaign trails, he tells the truth when all else fails. They're Dr. Politics, Dr. Politics, exposing the spin, the lies and tricks. Dr. Politics, Dr. Politics, he calls it straight, no politics as usual. Love from backroom deals to primetime fights. He sheds some light and sets things right. Debates, elections, policy. He cuts through all the DC sleaze. Oh, Dr. Politics, he's got the facts. Dr. Politics, no holding back. Dr. Politics, go away. Dr. Politics, he's got the facts. Dr. Politics, no holding back. Dr. Politics,
Good Friday evening, everyone. It is January 30th, the last day of the month of January. We are roughly about 15 days away from the return of the Shamrock Shake. 15, 16 days, depends on how the McDonald's management decide when they're going to release the Shamrock Shake, And it's all very, very, subjective. We'd like to welcome our newest panelist, who needs no introduction, really, Robin Ficker. Welcome to the show, Robin.
It's nice to be here. Actually, I'm looking more towards Valentine's Day than St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, no, McDonald's releases their Shamrock Shake right around Valentine's Day. Then it's gone, March 17th. Don't look for one on March 18th because they're gone.
Well,
they turn off that spigot,
Well, I think if you take your special person to McDonald's to get a Shamrock Shake for Valentine's Day, the reaction won't be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could take my wife.
Hopefully we thaw it out by then. This cold is crazy. I mean, Robin, you live out in the wilderness, so to speak, in the ag reserve. Has the snowplow been on your street or near your street?
My street is clear, but my driveway is a half mile long, and that is definitely not cleared. I've gone up and down with the tractor, but it's really taking a chance, even with a four-wheel drive car, to drive back and forth. And then I've got to walk out to the chicken coops, and that's kind of dangerous because it's very slippery, but they need warm water. I mean, it's 12 degrees now. Their water freezes in about 3 hours. And then I've got to bring them food, the grain. I bring them scrambled eggs to eat. They got to have some protein and stay warm out there in this cold wave. I mean, who's talking about global warming this weekend? I don't even think Mark Elrich is still talking about it.
Yeah.
No, because he passed the torch to Evan Glass to talk about global warming and climate change. Global warming is not a bad thing.
Well, you see, Dwight, when you and I were coming up, they called it global warming. But then what happened is they didn't find the warming. So they went with the less restrictive climate change. This way, they're right either way. It's cold, they're right. It's hot, they're right. So it's
Hey, Robin, after Katrina, they were saying we're going to have these types of super hurricanes. How many Cat 5 hurricanes we've had since Katrina? Take a guess, Robin.
What you're asking about Katrina?
Yeah, how many? No, I'm saying how many hurricanes have we had since Katrina that have been Cat 5? Because Katrina is a Cat
Oh.
5 plus, as they call it.
Yeah, not very many.
Zero,
You know,
Robin.
it's-
Zero.
There's your answer.
Yeah, and
So
the way
Al Gore said that the planet would be dead by now.
yeah, Manhattan was supposed to be underwater. Miami.
But you know,
People are gonna
the
have to-
great thing about Trump is that Trump doesn't mince words on this. He just calls it a green news scam. He doesn't play along. So I think that's good. But by the way, Dwight, I wanted to say earlier, you were talking about the freezing ice.
Yeah.
I did do that. And before the show, you were mentioning what some people were doing. Well, it did work for me. The boiling hot water, I was on ice and I was spinning. I couldn't get out of the parking spot. I did use the boil water trick. I heard the ice crack and I got out. I then tried to break up the ice because I'm putting on more water. That's going to be more ice. So I tried to crack it up and then shovel as much as I could. I found it was helpful to me because it did get me out.
Also, if you added some salt to that water, you wouldn't have had to worry about it refreezing.
I did. I had some kitty litter. I don't know if that helps or not because I got a cat. So I had some kitty litter that I spread it, which helped me with traction.
So Don, did you get a lot of snow your ways? I mean,
we got about 6 or 7 inches before the sleet, and then the sleet added on to that. And just like Robin said, the thing is that you get that sleet and that freezing rain get on top of it, and it's virtually impossible it's really hard to get out. If I didn't get some help, it would have been, I'd still be stuck at home because it was so hard to break up and move.
Because snowblowers don't work on the ice that well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one of those environmentally friendly, battery powered things that my kids gave me, and it's fine with snow, but this I can't handle.
Well, the other thing I learned is for this type of weather, you need a real shovel. You need a steel sort of shovel. I have
shovel.
The plasticky snow shovel doesn't work.
No, because you got to break up the ice. So we had shovels and we had the snow shovels so that we could break it up on the surface and then scoop it out and then move it. But it's heavy.
Yeah, I had something similar. I had a crowbar and I was smashing up ice.
But do you remember, in the old days, you could make your own flamethrowers? Take hairspray, light a match. You got a flamethrower.
Should have bought the Elon Musk flamethrower from years ago. I could have whipped that sucker out.
Yeah, I mean, done. You could have done with a can of hairspray. Just light a match. Hairspray.
Well, the oddest thing about this is the fact that I can walk on places which was grass lawn, and I'm a heavy guy, kind of. I could walk and not crush the ice. I could walk 100 yards and just be on ice.
Yeah, isn't that something though? I mean, here we are as adults and we weigh a decent amount, and yet this thing was so thick that there are sections, in my driveway or I could do the same thing. I walk on it and would not break the surface, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
I think, and buddy, did you guys see how your old pal, Robin, Mark Elric, they were all touting how all the streets were plowed, and there were streets in Chevy Chase, Bethesda, Silver Spring that didn't see a plow until yesterday or today for some of them.
Well, they've got to get these plows out there, but obviously they weren't able to. Otherwise, the schools have been shut for an entire week. I don't know how many snow days they have planned into their schedule, but I don't.
Well, they have 5, and they've used all 5 plus 1. They remember the snow we had in December. They closed school for that too. So
I thought they changed that number to 4 years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did because they weren't using. They didn't need 5.
Yeah, but so that means either longer days of instruction or they're going to tack on the time at the end of the school year, which will be a complete waste of time because nothing happens in June that's worth anything of consequence.
And here's the other thing is like you also have like what do they do about high school seniors? They've already booked the places for graduation already. You know, they already know the day the seniors are going to graduate. What are you going to do? Make them come back after graduation? Yeah, you got to make up the 4 days we lost, or the 2 days.
Yeah, but that won't really affect the seniors. I mean, it's 180 days of instruction by the school system, whether or not you're there or not, right?
Yeah, Montgomery County is actually 185 is what it used to be. They built in those 5 snow days.
Right.
Well, cancel spring break, cancel those cruises, cancel those Florida trips.
You know, Robin, I was talking to one of my neighbors, and what I was told is because of the new unions, because we all love the MCEA, who has a larger budget than the county council. They refused to get rid of those professional days because they got like 2 professional days in the month of February. They got 2 in March. It's like you just get rid of your professional days and they're set. They've made up those 4 or 5 days.
Well, what really concerns me about the blueprint is that the goal of the blueprint is to see that teachers teach only 60% of the time, which means 3 days a week. What are these teachers going to be doing the other 2 days? Talking to other teachers for a couple days? That is why the blueprint is a taxpayer's nightmare.
Robin, the other 2 days they're going to go campaign for their Democrat overlords.
Yes.
And then they bring in the substitutes. That's why they always need substitutes because the teachers are never in class.
Yeah. And we used to have great teachers in the MCPS system over the years. I mean, Robin's another Blair alumni. We had some great teachers back then. Did you ever have a guy named Mr. Bridges for history when you were there, Robin?
Wait, say that again, please.
Mr. Bridges. Did you ever have him as a teacher? He taught history.
No, I didn't. But
the happiest day of his life was when I graduated.
When I was at Montgomery Blair, the big deal was putting the Beltway through where it is now, and a lot of people were opposed to putting or even building the Beltway because they said we have east-west highway. That's all we need.
I remember, and I'm a Virginian, but I remember the debates over the intercounty connector over the ICC.
Yeah, the Bob Roanoke Expressway.
Yeah, that only took him close to 50 years to finally put in.
When Gov was running, he would see signs, ICC studies, and underneath Eisenhower Nixon signs underneath it.
You remember? Yeah, I mean, we used to have those signs all over the county, like future, like right of way for the intercounty connector, and they were just up there forever. And you thought this is never going to be built. That's why those homeowners complained so much when they actually built it, because they're like, oh, we don't want, we didn't know that this was coming. It's like, oh, it's been on the books since like 1956. Sorry.
And I tell you, Robin, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I think they should have just taken the Orlick Expressway straight through the ag reserves into Virginia. We could have had another crossing, over into Virginia.
Well, a lot of people still believe that because they've done away with White's Ferry now. And in order to get to Dulles Airport, you have to drive all the way down to the Beltway and then around the Beltway and then up to Dulles. And if you just had a bridge going across, but there are a lot of ardent protectors of the Ag Reserve, and they believe that that'll cause the downfall of the Ag Reserve if they put a road through there.
What do you think if they were open up the Ag Reserve, some of the land there, for affordable housing?
Well, I don't think they're going to get anywhere trying to go through.
I, as a Montgomery County resident, I am against the idea of affordable housing because call me a bourgeois, but I'll say it's a privilege to live in Montgomery County, not a right. Save your nickels, and maybe one day you'll be able to afford a home in Montgomery County. Just saying. Hey,
if you downsize the federal government, people will wind up having to find jobs elsewhere, and then there'll be lots of homes for sale.
Yeah. And,
That's
you know,
true.
honestly, this whole affordability thing, it's funny how the Democrats discovered affordability in 2025 when they didn't even see it in 2022
Are they
when
created?
$5 for gas.
We have a governor in Virginia now who talked about affordability. Already, their plans to make Virginia the highest tax state in the union in terms of the top tax rate. There's taxes on Uber they want, taxes on.
You know where they got those ideas from, Dave?
Yeah, probably Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah, we had those taxes. I mean, I'm willing to bet your speaker had lunch with our speaker, and our speaker said, we tax this. If it's got a pulse, we tax it. They're taxing haircuts now, and it's crazy.
That's just weird. And the other thing is that she rescinded Youngkin's order. We had a regional greenhouse gas initiative. It's like a little green new scam where Virginia got out of it. Now we're back into it, apparently. It deals with energy producers pay into a pot, and then the states divvy up the money. But it obviously will make energy more unaffordable, higher costs. And she puts back into that. And that's supposed to be, affordability was supposed to be her issue. Well, if that's the top priority, why would she have done that? Well, because it's not a top priority. But anyway, I
was talking to somebody, Robin, today that said their gas bill is going to be roughly $1,700.
Yeah, well, elections have consequences. Now they got Spanberger in Virginia. She wants to raise all the taxes, but we have an initiative here in Montgomery County, which Sully Sullivan, who's running for county council in District 1, the Chevy Chase district, he and I wrote this thing, and that limits increases in county spending to the rate of inflation. And that's going to be on the ballot in November. I predict it'll get at least 45% of the vote, maybe 55% of the vote. It's going to be a big battleground because, look, we have 2% fewer students in the school system now. The rate of inflation over the last year was 2.7%. So there's no reason the Montgomery County budget should increase more than 2.7%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Dave, though, I mean, these taxes in Virginia, the proposals are just crazy, though, right? Yeah. New personal property tax on electric leaf blowers and electric landscaping equipment. So now you're going to penalize people, for having these environmentally friendly equipment, that you kind of forced on them. Gun and ammunition tax. Delivery tax, for Amazon, Uber Eats, FedEx, UPS orders, investment income tax.
Is Virginia going to tax your iPhone too? Like make that a personal property tax? You got to pay a tax every year on iPhones?
Well, that's the opening, right? I mean, they're going to start looking at other things to try to tax. It's like, this is just nuts, but, and it does look like Maryland, right? I mean, membership tax. Do we have a dog walking tax in Maryland? I don't know, but Virginia wants one. They want to.
That means they're thinking about it in Annapolis now.
Oh, here it is, Dwight. Digital personal property tax. There we go. That's on the list in Virginia.
I will never move to Virginia now.
New car taxes and highway use fees. Hotel tax increase in Arlington. Speed cameras. But they just they're going to put more speed cameras and more fines. A vehicle repair tax. Home repair tax. Dry cleaning. Here's another one. Fantasy sports tax. What is this?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, and the other thing about hotel taxes, a lot of times people think, well, that just affects people from out of state. That's not true. Because in Virginia, let's say you have a kid who goes to Virginia Tech. You're in Northern Virginia. You go down to see them. You stay in a hotel. You'll pay the tax. So let's say you go to Virginia Beach in the summer, a weekend. You leave Northern Virginia to go to Virginia Beach. You stay in a hotel, you'll pay the tax. So it isn't just out-of-staters that'll pay that tax.
Yeah, well, and politicians love taxes like that on hotels, rental
Mhm.
cars, things like that, because the majority of the people who pay those taxes are the tourists, out of towners, who have no vote and no say, in that particular area. But it is not just like you said, it's not limited to those tourists. The locals also will find ways of using it in staters because they need to go somewhere and they need to stay nearby. So it's just, but I just remember when, I think, renting a car in Utah for the first time, I don't know, 30 years ago or whatever. And, we used like, some coupons or whatever. And so we basically had a free car rental theoretically, but we had to pay the tax. But when you look at it, the taxes and fees on the rental car at the airport were half the cost of the rental. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
so, we try not to rent when we can, but sometimes you can't avoid it. But, there's just, they've gone after every little thing that they can. And they're just spend, spend, spend. There's no talk about reducing spending and becoming fiscally responsible. And then, but we live in the DMV where, the Democrats now control Virginia. They've controlled Maryland, for a long time, except for the
1890.
governor mansion.
That's how long they've controlled
But
it.
the state legislature, Maryland is, so lopsided, and the district is nothing but, just a bunch of liberals. So, we just see, this tax everywhere. It's, we're just dying.
Well, Maryland
As
thinks
Ross
big in regards to tax increases. We passed a unique digital sales tax last year in the state, which serves as a stop sign to every cutting edge CEO in the United States who thinks maybe he wants to move into Maryland. That's a disaster. And then also, they passed just last year, they passed a bill which allows the local income tax to be increased from 3.2 to 3.3%. And of course, Elric and Jawando, who's running for county executive, are both in favor, as is the teachers union, of increasing the local income tax rate. And to me, anyone who favors that, that's an automatic DQ.
Yeah. And remember Will Jawando. You know his famous line is, right? Don't you know who I am when he's pulled over by the cops for driving without a license? It is horrible that these people get elected year after year after year. And now he's running for county executive. He's got the DSA endorsement, behind him.
Yeah, well, those Democrats, they think they're in California. Then they just tax and spend us to death. Let's tax all the rich people. Oh yeah, we don't really care. We don't think that the rich people will actually leave the state. Well, no, the wealthy leave the state. They're not going to be. They don't want to be taxed. And this is happening all over the country. They start raising those income taxes on the wealthy. They leave for Florida and other places where there's no income tax.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw, we had an article this week, the Californication of Maryland, where if California thinks it, we do it, frankly. It was a great article. It was out on the 27th. We put out so many articles. But it was just on the 27th about the Californication of Maryland. Go ahead. Robin, you were saying something?
My two opponents, Trone and Delaney, are both big spenders. They don't want to cut anything. All they want to do is spend more money and impeach Trump. Trone in his commercials proudly says that he voted to impeach Trump twice, and he criticizes Delaney for being too pro-Trump when she also has impeached Trump. So if you elect either one of those two, Trone or Delaney, you're going to see Trump impeached. You're going to see them voting to impeach Trump. And of course, as a result, you won't see $1 of federal aid coming into Western Maryland because the administration is the best back scratcher in the United States. If you help them, they'll help you. If you don't help them, they won't help you.
I mean, just Robin, just look at the Key Bridge. You know, Brandon Scott and Wes Moore keeps getting in the face of the president. You know, maybe if they played ball with the president, we'd have the start of the construction of the new Key Bridge. You know,
Well,
but
the bridge there in Baltimore, you know, Moore was really dishonest because he was working closely with Biden on that
mhm,
bridge. He was mingling with Byron, and he knew that Byron was missing something mentally, but yet he not only didn't say anything about that, but he also insisted that Biden should be reelected for 4 more years, even after the debate. And he was hanging around Biden. He knew there was a mental deficiency.
mhm. And switching gears a little bit, we've got also a lot of other big stories this week. You know, we've got the Democrats. Speaking of impeachment, they want to impeach Kristi Noem for doing her job. You know, frankly, you know, they're making a big federal issue out of the guy that got shot by the ICE officer, who basically was saying that, hey, come and shoot me. And he had an altercation with the ICE officers earlier this month. You know, it's horrible that anybody dies, but I mean, it's not going to end well for you.
I saw the video, and the guy who was shot, he was reaching into his pocket, and he pulled out an extra magazine that he had. Now, if you have a gun in your pocket and you're wrestling with cops, you don't want to reach into your pocket to pull out a magazine because you don't know what they're going to think it is that you're pulling out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah. I mean, what are you doing bringing a gun to a protest? What do you expect is going to happen? That's the thing. You know, there's a lot of things going on there, but you know, it's like you are not helping the cause by bringing a gun to a protest. Even if you keep it holstered, it just acts as a threat to law enforcement. It doesn't make any sense to me.
You know, the odd thing is the people that are coming out for these things. Now, I think a lot of them, of course, are paid, but it's kind of weird that all these nurses, for some reason, are now anti-ICE. So you'll have not just the blue-haired Karens, but apparently the guy was also a nurse, and the media likes to remind us that he was a nurse. So I don't know what it is about nurses picking this as a cause. So
you know, what's the most hilarious part about this whole thing is, you know, she was just a mom. She was just a stay-at-home mom.
Maryland,
This guy was a nurse. You know, what, nurses are infallible? Stay-at-home moms are infallible now? You know, it's like, this is crazy. You know, I think it's about time. I mean, Minnesota is looking a lot like the campus of Berkeley University did in the 1960s. Robin, you were probably around for the original protests at Kent State and Berkeley and all the other college campus riots, right?
Well, I was around for the March on Washington, and I think I'll be the first member of Congress from Maryland who marched with Martin Luther King and Dr. Fauntroy in that march on August 28th, 1963.
Oh wait, Steny
I
Hoyer
was
didn't
working
come
for
out.
time. Pardon?
Wait, Steny Hoyer didn't come out for that march. Democrat Steny Hoyer was not there.
No, I didn't see Steny there.
Or Barbara.
I was working for Tom Morris, a congressman from New Mexico, and Walter Fauntroy came by and invited us all to the march, and we went with him, and it was quite a spectacle. And then 60 years later, I was honored to be picked for the hospitality committee along with Martin Luther King III for the 60th reunion of that march. That was back in 2023 downtown, and I didn't see Steny Hoyer. I didn't see April Delaney. I didn't see David Trone there either.
Well, I mean, or any other Maryland Democrats, frankly. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
like Paris.
I don't know. I'm not going to defend ICE's tactics because sometimes I think that they could have done a better job in how they handle things in Minneapolis. On the other hand, the mayor, directing the police not to cooperate. I mean, they were from the get-go wanting to be very uncooperative and trying to basically block ICE from doing its work there. I think if they had let ICE come in there and kind of do their thing, I think ICE probably would have left town with relatively, little fanfare. I mean, ICE is definitely far from perfect. And, calls for defunding ICE or firing Kristi Noem. The Democrats can threaten all they want about Kristi Noem, but right now the president's got her back. The Republicans in Congress are not going to go along with it. They're not, the votes won't be there to do that anyway. But I think the president made a good move by removing Greg Bovino and bringing in Tom Homan to kind of calm things down from the administration standpoint and kind of get a reset there. But DHS.
Well, the problem in Minnesota is that these local jails won't let ICE in there, and
Right.
that's the peaceful way to arrest someone that's in the country illegally or who has a criminal background, is go to the jail and do it peacefully rather than running around in the neighborhoods looking for them in their homes.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like Jacob Fry in his speech last Sunday, what have they accomplished? Well, Mayor Fry, what did they accomplish? They rounded up criminals, illegal. These are very bad people. These are pedophiles. These are murderers. These are rapists. These are not, choir boys that they're arresting. They are arresting very bad people. If Jacob Fry would have done his job, the ICE never would have had to come into Minneapolis to do this. And tied to this story, we got embedded activist Don Lemon, who got arrested. And, honestly, it's not a bad thing. He was not a journalist. He was one of the protesters. He was a collaborator. There's a lot of video out there of him hanging out with these protesters and so on. Don Lemon should go to jail, frankly.
I'm not so sure about that.
Can you imagine if? Can you imagine if we had protests during services in the synagogues in Montgomery County? Can you imagine what would happen then?
Well, it being Montgomery County, I think they would have been just fine with it. Montgomery County is not the most. These are the people that it took them. By the way, over where Holy Cross Hospital is, Robin. Holy Cross Hospital off the Beltway. The Beltway goes over Sligo Creek Trail.
Wait, you.
I was saying, Robin, you know where Holy Cross Hospital is, right? The Beltway goes over Sligo Creek Trail.
Oh, yes, Holy Cross.
Underneath that trail, they had so much anti-Semitic, bigoted graffiti on the wall. It was there in May, and we contacted the county to let them know it was there. It was still there in June. It was still there in July. It was still there in August. It was gone in September. They had no issues with that stuff being there for that long. And where is Montgomery County's hate crimes unit, frankly? Why were they not why did they put up a camera there? I mean, digital technology is pretty cheap and easy to do. Why didn't they put some cameras there to catch the perpetrators? Because Montgomery County doesn't care.
I agree. But if there's writing on, if someone puts a swastika on a school, they're holding a press conference there the next day.
Yeah. And that's because that's just a PR for them, But when you see these kind of things, and it's not just there. I've seen it in Rock Creek under the underpasses there. I've seen them write it on the rocks too, I've seen, from River to the Sea, F Israel, F the Jews. It's like, honest to God, this is appalling. In
Yep.
America in 2025, 2026, we see this kind of anti-Semitic stuff out there. And it used to be, we had anti-Semitism, but it used to be underground. Now it's come above ground. It's become in vogue to be anti-Semitic. I mean, look at all those professors at George Washington. Yeah. But
And it shouldn't take more than a day to get a sandblaster out there to erase that graffiti, especially that anti-Semitic graffiti.
Very true. Very true. And I think, I mean, they could paint over the graffiti. I mean, I don't care if they sandblast or they could put black paint on it. A couple of coats of black paint, it'll be gone. I haven't been down there in a while. I'm wondering if it's back or not, but we've got, it's just crazy what passes in Montgomery County these days.
Well, and I would think and I'm not there, but I would think in Maryland, certainly in Montgomery County, you have a pretty high Jewish population, I would think.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think.
And you know what the saddest part is? We had a couple of our Montgomery County Republic Club members that
we have some of the smartest Jewish people in the United States in Montgomery County. I remember I was at Oakview Elementary, and the teacher had a reading contest, and in this contest she was going to give a prize to the student that read the most books in a year. And after a month, myself and Sandy Landman, who was a lovely Jewish girl, a good friend of mine, we both had read more books than the whole rest of the class. Well, Sandy ended up beating me by one book in that contest. Then 50 years later, we had our 50th high school reunion. And guess who Sandy brought to the reunion?
Yeah.
She brought a book to the reunion. That's
Robin,
the kind of intelligence that I was up against and the kind of intelligence we have in Montgomery County.
Wow. I don't get to hear the name Oakview Elementary very often. I went there for kindergarten and part of first grade before I moved and wound up at Glen Haven. So you bring back some really old memories.
Where exactly was Oakview? Was that on Flower Avenue?
Well, I was bookmobile card number 91 in Montgomery County when they started those bookmobiles way back when.
Well, in Montgomery County, I always thought libraries, with the exception of I think Wheaton and Bethesda, were the only libraries that's opened on Sundays. But there's like a big outcry for the local libraries are now shutting down on Sundays.
Well, it says Oakview Elementary School's on East Wayne Avenue.
Yes.
East Wayne.
And the first day it opened, we had to walk back through the woods to get to the school because they hadn't completed the road.
And they're thinking they're going to be tearing down the old Blair High School. Did you know that, Robin?
I know Robin's a little older than I am. I mean, some means I went to Oakview in like 64 and 65 before I moved.
Huh.
So Robin was probably there a little bit before me, I guess.
Yeah. Did you see my name written in the cement in front of the school?
You're asking me to remember anything from 60 years ago? Give me a break. I may have to make a trip now just to do that.
By the way, Robin, they're tearing down our old high school, Montgomery Blair. They're going to tear it down, the old one, the original, the classic.
What have they been doing with it since? I mean,
it's right now. It's an international school, and they spent a lot of money renovating that. They tore down the auditorium also. By the way,
what are they doing with the school?
Well, right now it's two schools: Sligo Elementary School or Sligo Creek Elementary School, and the other half is the Silver Spring International School. It's a French immersion school, right? and they're going to be tearing it down. I mean, I don't know if you've driven on Wayne Avenue anytime recently, Don or Robin, but with this purple line construction, you want to kill someone. That's how bad that congestion is down there.
Mm.
And even the old orders is
Okay. My
new
sound
orders.
froze for a minute.
Oh,
Well, we can hear
what do
you.
you think?
Yeah, I mean, Robin, I think you've just been freezing every once in a while. So
I don't guess it's the cold, is it?
yeah, I know.
It could
No
it
pun
could be.
intended.
I mean, we're down to like 10 degrees here now.
I know. I hate it. I got to be honest with, not to interrupt, but for me, I would be more afraid of a second ice age than global warming. Because if
Yeah,
it
you
warmed
can-
a little bit, we'd be okay. But if you freeze, what are you're going to starve to death? What can you even grow?
Yeah. I
So-
mean, here's the thing. As I was saying, Dave, when things get warmer, right?
Yeah.
What's the worst
Well,
thing that happens? We've got
I remember one time they had a celebrity ice cream eating contest at Lake Forest Mall, and I entered, and I had never been in an ice cream eating contest before. And after 1 minute, you can't taste the ice cream. Your whole jaw is frozen. So don't ever get into an ice cream eating contest.
I'm frightened of
Yeah.
brain freeze. I wouldn't do it for the brain freeze. You know, I
Yeah.
hate the brain freeze, when you eat something really cold.
Yeah, that always used to happen to me. Got that orange freeze thing when I
Yeah.
used to get that at the hot shops or whatever. It's like hit my head.
Yeah.
Like that was it. Boom.
Yeah, I know. I hate
I've gotten brain freeze since I was a kid. Maybe I just know how to eat ice cream better.
Yeah.
I think I think these things affect people in different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I tell you, the other thing is, there were years ago, I probably could have won a pizza eating contest. Now, no way. I don't know if you're familiar with Three Brothers in Greenbelt, Robin. They have a record of somebody eating 24 slices in 24 slices. I think it's like 15 minutes. I'm like, I could probably have done that in my younger days.
Maybe doing 15 hours, maybe.
No, I couldn't even do it in 15 hours. I could barely finish a single slice of pizza these days.
Yeah.
I think one of the ultimate food gorging things is that challenge at Chicken Roost. Right, you got to do I think the burger and the shake, and you got a time limit on there, but you get it free if you can eat the whole thing, but it's enormous. And I've talked to people who've done that, and they're part of the strategy is that since is that they go to the bathroom and then they throw up so that they can go back and continue on, because there's just no way the body can handle all that for the average person.
That should be cheating, though. I think that's cheating.
I know it's I thought it was kind of strange, but they also get a T-shirt, and I think they get their name on the wall and stuff. It's pretty funny.
Maybe we
I'd
should
rather
get
just
Chris
not
to enter
throw
this
up.
contest, Don. I wonder if Chris could do that.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, I can't even think about that now at my age. It's like I struggle to get through just regular meals sometimes. I'm like, I get to a certain point, I'm like, I'll just save the rest for another day.
That's right.
Yeah, where is the closest Chicken Roost, anyways? Do we have them in Maryland, or are they?
It's a famous. It's in Annapolis. It's famous in Annapolis. Everybody goes there.
Oh, okay. I guess I should go there next time I'm there.
Yeah, well, Marvin Mandel used to eat breakfast there every morning.
Oh, okay.
Marvin Mandel, our governor he was the governor after Spiro Agnew, right, Robin? Robin froze again.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Or did we have Blair
He was
Lee?
the governor when I was a kid.
Didn't he get into some legal trouble, Marvin Mandel?
Oh, they set him up.
Oh, so-
Yeah,
No, he beat the rap, actually.
Okay, well, he's a Democrat, right?
Yes, he is, yeah.
Yep.
But he's like one of the
But not the kind of Democrat they have today. That's the thing.
Okay.
They've
It's like,
changed so much.
Maryland Democrats weren't this kooky until
No, well,
Paris
he
Glendening.
ended up getting married. His second marriage was to a nice conservative woman from the Eastern Shore. So that's not the kind of thing that a radical Democrat would usually do.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
And-
even William Donald Schaefer for a Democrat was fairly more a moderate. He wasn't like today's Democrat.
I mean,
Yeah,
until
Schaefer was such a character. I mean,
he was.
I like this guy. I mean, he was such a character. And then when he was on the Public Works Board in Maryland, I mean, he'd side with Ehrlich and stuff like that. Drove the Democrats crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And he also said, "Sweetheart, turn around so I get a better look at you."
Yeah.
That finished him off. That was the end of. That was it. That was it for
That
Schaefer.
was, I don't know. I don't think you know what it was. Democrats didn't like him.
Yeah.
Peter Franchot
Schaefer was a
ran
wonderful
on-
guy. I spent a day with him and sat in on his cabinet meetings, and he was a very nice person. He thought about everyone. He was always looking out for the little guy, and he also had a slogan which we all in government can use, which was "Do it now." He didn't put it off till the next day. He accomplished the task when they brought up the issue the same day.
Yeah.
You know, I think he would have really liked President Trump. I think Schaefer and Trump would have been like two peas in a pod. They would have really loved. They really would have hit it off. I think.
Well,
do you
they
think,
may have known
Robinson?
each other. I'm sure they did know each other. They probably met.
I think in that first campaign, didn't it? The first presidency, wasn't there some interaction between those two? I mean,
Wasn't Schaefer already dead by the time when Trump ran in 2016?
Probably,
I
yes.
think so, but he probably knew him because Trump was a businessman and famous, so they probably knew each other.
And Schaefer brought Keno, to Maryland.
Yeah, well, Trump has confounded these Democrats because number one, he was reelected, which they never expected. They expected that they thought they'd try to put him in jail or maybe disqualify him from even being on the ballot. Then he won every single state that was important. He overwhelmingly won the primary vote. He overwhelmingly won the general vote, and then since then he's shut down the border. We were having 300,000 illegal immigrants come across the border every month. It's now zero. He's shut that down. The stock market is at all-time highs. He deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for what he's done in the Middle East and elsewhere. Although he's fallen short in Ukraine, but he's done a wonderful job so far.
Well, I think the problem with Ukraine, Robin, that you mentioned is the fact that Vladimir Putin is very unreasonable. And he's kind of like an animal with his back to the wall, frankly. Putin basically, he's been given a lot of great opportunities for peace in Ukraine. But Biden's basically, not Biden, Putin's been saying, hell no. But
Trump hasn't been as forceful on the Ukraine-Russia thing as he should be. I mean, he's kind of been playing both sides, trying to find a middle ground there.
Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't thrown his complete support behind Zelensky and stayed there. And Ukraine doesn't want to give up the territory. And Trump thinks that they ought to cede kind of what they already have there. But you're reducing this country to next to nothing if you start doing it. And there's no guarantee. Russia, if they do get that, what stops them from trying to take other territories? I mean, I do think that Putin, his larger goal is like, I want to rebuild the old former Soviet Union, and I'll do whatever I can. But Ukraine is kind of the first step, and they've had a decent amount of success there, though. It's been very costly, right? You empty your prisons, costs a lot of money.
It's been over 1,400 days. I mean, every time we talk,
is an imitator of Stalin. He wants to be like Stalin. He lined up hundreds of thousands of troops on the border of Ukraine, saying he wasn't going in. Then he did. He expected to conquer Kiev in a week, and he wasn't able to. I think what we ought to do is we ought to unlock all these frozen Russian funds in Europe and elsewhere, and unlock those funds and give them to Ukraine for defense, because this cannot go on. He's slaughtering thousands of Ukrainians every
Mm-hmm.
month. He's taking thousands of their kids to re-educate them. He's got to be stopped, and I think we need extreme sanctions on Putin because he's not going to be Mr. Nice Guy. You've got to he deserves the peace through strength attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
do
we
you
haven't
go
we
for-
haven't put the screws to him like we should have. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been the sanctions have been very soft in terms of that. There's been escape routes because we've talked right about going, they're selling to China, selling to India, things like that. So they still have cash flow that way. As Robin said, I mean, there's bank accounts. They have seized some and used some of those funds, but they haven't done it all. They won't take that harsh step and say, we're basically going to unfreeze those funds and then send them to Ukraine to help them defend themselves and try to beat back Russia. Because as Robin said, I mean, my thought was that they weren't even thinking they could do it in a week. I thought Putin's thought was, I can do this in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that's exactly what they.
Instead, it's been over 1,400. What a mess.
And furthermore, I think the president did talk about sending cruise missiles to Ukraine. Perhaps we kind of
Yeah,
let
well,
them have
one
a few.
good thing Trump has done, he's gotten these European countries, almost all of them, to increase their defense budget so that they're going to be on alert in case Putin tries to go beyond Ukraine, which I'm sure he will one day try to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Sure.
I think these other countries, I think they're worried, about what Putin might do. So that's why they're willing to do that. But yeah, it's definitely a feather in Trump's cap to get them to actually step up for the first time and really spend more money. It's like, why does the U.S. have to be the country that funds all these things? These other countries are next door, or just a couple doors down. Go spend the money to defend this area. Don't leave it to us.
Yeah.
Well, the
And we
problem
are
is you've
getting.
got countries like France where the average wage earner is taxed more than 50%. So they've got all these social programs, and they don't think they have extra money for defense. But wait till those tanks come in, then they'll find some. And the missiles and the drones.
Yeah, and we are. I know Dave has got to jump off right at 8, so why don't we get straight to final thoughts? And let's start with Robin. Final thoughts. Tell us what's on your mind. Anything you want, and it can be more than one thought. Go.
Looks like you froze up again.
Yeah,
The cold weather.
I know. It's you know what it is. It's basically
There he's back.
There you go, Robin. Go. Final thoughts. Whatever you want to talk about. You got.
We're here.
You want to talk?
I think it's going in and out a little bit because of the weather.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, last Sunday, real quick. I mean, my Wi-Fi was dropping in and out Sunday when it was really, really cold. Because with my smart TV, I see lost Wi-Fi connection, got Wi-Fi connection, lost.
But Maryland, I think, has really fallen short in the energy realm. We don't have enough energy. We're importing energy from nuclear plants in Pennsylvania. We're only producing less than 50% of the energy that's used in Maryland is produced in Maryland. Now, there's an obvious answer because since 1975, we've had this huge nuclear plant in Calvert Cliffs, which provides 40% of Maryland's electricity, 80% of their no emissions electricity. And I remember a couple years ago, I went to a meeting of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland held in Baltimore, and there were a few hundred people there, and there was a panel there, and Arunna Miller was, and I got up and asked her in front of everyone. I said, "Why aren't we expanding Calvert Cliffs And her answer was in front of everyone, I don't think the people of Maryland are ready for electricity from nuclear power. That's obviously the way to go. So what you have is a situation in Adamstown and in Frederick County where they're setting forth roping out a large area for data centers, and they want to bring in hundreds of 10-foot diesel generators to power this thing, which are going to stink up the whole area, and including a school that's nearby. So we need to get some of this nuclear plant going rather than, I mean, how much solar power did you absorb today? I don't think all that much. It's certainly not enough to melt the ice. We need to have reliable 24/7 power. And Maryland, which had probably the best nuclear plant in the country, we haven't expanded that. Moore should have an immediate group of people look into how we expand that plant ASAP. Trump has done away with a lot of the regulations that made it difficult to expand and build nuclear plants.
Okay. Dave, final thoughts.
Well, check out my Substack. I've got another column up, and I wrote a little bit about Spanberger and some of the things she's doing in Virginia to destroy the state. And otherwise, hope to have a good weekend. I'm hoping we miss the storm. There's supposed to be another storm coming. I'm hoping we miss it in Northern Virginia. And I'm looking forward to Tuesday. And why Tuesday? Why am I looking forward to Tuesday? It's supposed to actually be the first day that we get up above freezing. Forecasters say we could hit a high of 32, but that would be a great welcomed relief if we can get that high.
Yeah, that'd be shorts weather compared to the weather we've had.
But that's about it.
Well, I was gonna invite Dwight to get his wetsuit and go swimming with me in the Potomac, but then I remembered that they have this huge sewage line, which is now discharging into the Potomac. So I guess Dwight will have to pass that by.
Yes, I will. And it is too cold. But anyways, Don, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Just a few here. Gotta love the New York City mayor Mondami. There's ice protests in New York, and then a bunch of them went into a Hilton hotel lobby and occupied that, and he actually cheered them on and praised them for doing so. And I'm like, the New York City mayor is actually praising these protesters from going onto private property and taking over a lobby. And it's like, yeah, this is just bad news. New York is this is just the tip of the iceberg for what New York City is facing. I mean, we've talked about Spanberger in Virginia and how the Democrats they're already ready to raise taxes beyond belief. But this is what happens when you elect these left-wing, socialist, type of people. And look at Spanberger. I mean, everybody thought she was a moderate. Well, no. I think we're seeing that's far from the truth there. The Virginia legislature, if I'm not mistaken, right, David? They got a brush back in the court on redistricting for now. So they're trying to do a mid term redistricting and try to wipe out some more Republicans.
They're blocked because you have to wait on an election cycle, and apparently the timing is not going to work out for them. It looks like, unless they get it reversed on repeal. But I think the plain language is they can't really do it before.
Yeah, I think the judge cited like 4 procedural errors or something like that.
Yeah.
So they probably cannot be remedied at this stage. I mean, it's going to be pretty tough. So hopefully
don't be surprised. It all seems to me like Spanberger has the Moore problem. They're both thinking about trying to get on a ticket in 2028, and they have to go way left. I remember when all those Democratic candidates in the primary, they asked them, well, should it be a crime or even a large difficulty to come into the United States without getting a visa? They all they all agreed, every single one on the panel agreed that it should not be a criminal matter to come into the country illegally. We have a redistricting problem here in Maryland where Moore is trying to shove that through. He's going to end up in court. I would love to be a party in that lawsuit because, see, I have two opponents, Trone and Delaney. They both live down by the Beltway, about a 20-minute ride from the 6th District, Western Maryland District. So instead of them moving into the district, this new redistricting plan brings the district down to them. And that's why we need to challenge this political redistricting here in Maryland, just like they're doing in Virginia.
Yeah. Just one more thing real quick. Just so the story that came out about how Amazon is shutting down their Amazon Fresh and Amazon Go stores.
Yeah.
They don't have a ton of those. They have 72 stores.
Two
combined.
that I know of in Maryland.
Yeah, and they have a Fresh store not that far away from me in Gaithersburg, and there's never been anybody. There's pictures now of people that were lined up to go there. More customers they probably ever had because they're offering up to 50% off because they're closing this weekend. It's like this is so funny, but yeah. So Amazon is going to concentrate, I think, on what they're trying to do in Chicago is build this massive store that's kind of Costco stands like, but will also be attached to a distribution center to handle orders and fulfillment. But that's in Chicago they've got to get that approved. A lot of people don't like what Amazon's trying to do there. But this is just Amazon keeps trying the retail side and the grocery side. Grocery business is hard, and Amazon hasn't figured this out yet.
And by the way, Don, you know who owns Whole Foods?
Bezos is a smart guy. I mean, it's usually forward ever, backward never for him. He did make one good move. They were putting up a new skyscraper in Seattle where my daughter lives along with her husband, who's head of personnel for the Seahawks and who'll be going to the Super Bowl next week. But Bezos they were putting up a new skyscraper every year in Seattle. Then Seattle came out with the idea of a new head tax. So Bezos said, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to find a location outside. They thought about Montgomery County for a while until they saw that we elected people who increased taxes, and that's why they went to Virginia, because of the new head tax they wanted to put on in Seattle. So Bezos does make some good decisions, and I know that those fresh food stores were his idea, and they didn't even have personnel in them. You could just flash your card and pay for anything. So I'm somewhat surprised that they're stepping back on that, because he doesn't step back. He usually moves ahead. Maybe he's got a real nice house down there in Florida. Maybe he's spending more time there, or maybe he's just traveling Europe with his new bride.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not really. I mean, he's involved, but I mean, it's Andy Jassy that makes most of the decisions now and has for a while. So they've been trying these things. If you walk into an Amazon Fresh store, at least the one in Gaithersburg, there were more employees fulfilling, pickup orders than there were customers every time I went.
But I like that. Okay, when I go to Safeway,
I mean, when I went, I agree.
I go to Costco.
I like the fact that there weren't a lot of people around.
Costco's a good place to go because you don't have to pay the bag tax. They have cardboard boxes there you can put all your groceries in.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
that's enough on my side. You can.
Yeah, as I was saying, I actually am going to miss Amazon Fresh stores. I like the fact that it was just for me, an Amazon Prime member. I never have to fight. Like if I go to Giant or Safeway, sometimes it's like old people day, and all the old people are there clogging up the lines. They're feeling every single tomato and taking forever. They're moving slowly through the stores. I never had that problem with Amazon Fresh. And honestly, evidently one of the articles, I think Moco Show had an article where they're going to focus on Amazon, Whole Foods, which is also an Amazon property. Why they never just did what they wanted to do.
So are we near the end of the road here now, or what?
We're at the end of the road. I'm just doing my final thoughts, and then we do our little plug for, I don't know, have you ever gone to Missoni's in Perry Hall? It's a great Republican-owned establishment. It's a wonderful place. They got great food, great people, a lot of fun. But that's and one my other final thought I had is the fact that one, check out Montgomery County Republican Club.com. We've got some great articles there. I've got an article about the new space race between the U.S. and China. We've got a little article about Brandon Scott's Jeep Grand Wagoneer for $163,000. You could have bought a Cadillac Escalade for less. But that's about it. Did you have something else, Robin? Robin, did you have something else to say?
See Ferguson again? Whatever.
No, he's moving around.
Okay, now I hear someone.
Yeah,
Right.
so I think, do you have anything else to say? Or we're at the end. It's like this when we play that theme from Sound of Music at the very end, you know.
Probably should just end it now, Dwight.
Yeah. Good night,
Are we
everyone.
near the end of the show here now?
We're at the end.
Yes, we are. We're at the very end.
We're at the end. Okay, I'm going to go and watch on Big Ten Plus the rest of the Maryland Rutgers wrestling match.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Go
night.
Maryland.
Good night. Thank you. I'll leave you in good company.
Let's go down to Missoni's, where Italian cuisine shines. Let's go down